Hi everyone and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, or welcome if you're new to my channel. Either way, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It'll help me out, it'll help you out, because you won't miss some of the greatest horror content out there on the web right now. With that being said, the movie from 1981 we're going to take a look at today is a slasher movie. In fact, many of my remaining movies for 1981 as part of my overall 1980s horror series are slasher movies because let's face it, 1981 was the year of the slasher. Um, but yeah, it's a movie I've never seen before until now, and that movie is Scream. Not to be confused with Wes Craven's Scream from 1996. This has nothing to do with that. This is the original title, Scream, from 1981. So yeah, this is from Code Red, the DVD. So let's talk about Scream from 1981. So Scream, also released as The Outing, is a 1981 American slasher film written and directed by Byron Quisenberry and starring Pepper Martin, Hank Worden, Ethan Wayne, which was John Wayne's son, by the way, Anne Bronston, and Julie Marin. Marin? Whatever. A group of 12 people on a camping tour of the Rio Grande decide to spend the night in an old ghost town, and an on-scene killer begins to dispatch them one by one. On the first night, at the stroke of midnight, 3 of the group are killed in rapid succession. Alan is found hanged, his friends Ross and John both hacked by a cleaver. In the morning, the 9 survivors try to leave, but find their 3 rubber rafts slashed apart by someone or something, forcing them to spend another night in the ghost town. During the day, 2 youths on motor dirt bikes arrive, and one of the guides, named Jerry, leaves with one of them to get help from a nearby ranch which is over 30 miles away. At nightfall, Bob takes over as the de facto leader of the group and has them set up traps to try to trap the killer, but the unseen killer seems to evade them every time, leaving no evidence, not even footprints. Soon, the unseen killer strikes again by killing Rod, the other dirt bike youth, by throwing him through a wooden door. Jerry is soon found dead, and Andy is beaten and axed in the face. Bob is decapitated with a scythe, while Stan and the overweight, slow-witted Lou are badly injured in a scuffle. So yeah, that's kind of the setup, the premise, the beginning of Scream from 1981. As far as the cast goes, we have Pepper Marin as Bob, Hank Worden as John, Ethan Wayne as Stan, Anne Bronston as Marion, Julie Marine as Laura, and Woody Strode as Charlie Winters, I should say. So yeah, that's to set up the premise and the cast for the 1981 slasher movie, Scream. I'd heard a lot about this movie, not a lot good. A lot of people said it's like the worst slasher ever. And sometimes you'll go into that saying, well, it can't be that bad. I'm sure I can find some good things about it. This one almost said hold my beer. I did find some positives that I like about the film, but very few and far between, if I'm being honest. So let's just go ahead and get into them, starting with the things that I liked about the movie. I will say, I think the idea that the movie has is not a bad one. I think there's potential there. I like the old abandoned Western ghost town setting. That's probably my favorite part about the movie. Very unique setting for a horror movie that looked authentic, with boarded up windows and everything. I believe it was shot on like a back lot, like Western set that they used for a lot of Western movies before and stuff. So that was very effective, and it creates a lot of horror possibilities. So as far as the setting goes, they get a thumbs up for that. Some of the music I thought was effective and creepy in certain scenes, like the opening credits, where they're like scanning through this apartment. We see these little figurines, a butcher, a baker, and a candle maker, which at one time was going to be the title of the film. It really doesn't have much to do with anything after that, but I thought the music during the opening credits was effective. And there's other moments in the film where the score is effective in a creepy sort of way. The movie does have a decent atmosphere that I thought was created with the setting, the grainy look because of the low budget nature, the score, as I mentioned, and mostly being shot for nighttime scenes. A lot of this, I would say 75-80% of this movie is shot at nighttime, and those always lead to possibilities of scares and things. It just kind of has more of a potentially scary atmosphere. And then I'll say there's a bit of an interesting mystery, at least for a while, as far as who might be doing the killing. Is it somebody in the group? Is it somebody from the outside, as they say? Once you figure that out, though, it does kind of lose a little bit of its appeal. But for a while, there's a bit of a mystery. And then there's a couple of decent stalking scenes where, even though the kills aren't really on screen all that much, there's just some stalking scenes leading up to certain places within this ghost town. Again, that's where the music and the score help a little bit as well. But I didn't think those were terrible. There was a couple of decent stalking scenes in the movie. So, man, I managed to come up with quite a few pros, didn't I, for Scream? Now we get into the cons. Let's be honest, this is a poorly written, poorly directed movie that really let down and does nothing with the setting or the atmosphere that are pros that I mentioned. The potential opportunities for horror that it has. Instead, you just get a lot of scenes of characters just kind of meandering around, talking, walking, and really doing nothing of anything. That's what like 70% of the movie is, if I'm being honest. And yeah, it's because of the writing. The writing was horrible. I think they had, like I said in my pros, I think there was an interesting idea here. I think there could be an effective horror movie made with that idea, but it wasn't in this movie. The characters, I think, are beyond bad. Not well acted or well written. There's way too many of them to begin with, and we never know who anyone is or how they all come to be together on this camping trip. It doesn't seem like they all know each other that well. It seems like this was some excursion that they signed up for or something, and maybe it was, because I think we do get a couple of sort of tour guides in cowboy hats, but nothing is ever really... We have nothing to care about with these characters. Nothing's explained. It's all just, we're just throwing a bunch of people together. The kills are pretty much terrible. They're all off screen. I think there's like 6 of them. But they're all off screen with no practical gore effects, hardly any blood to speak of. The only blood I remember is there's this, what do you call it? Not a hatchet, a cleaver, like a meat cleaver that's got blood dripping. After somebody's been killed, it's got blood dripping off of it, which was actually a pretty good, a pretty cool visual. I wish they would have done more than that, but you get nothing when it comes to the kills. They partially show a hanging and a decapitation, but it's cut and edited so fast that you really can't get enough of a look at it to enjoy it. And you don't even get the satisfaction of seeing these bland stick figure characters get killed in an effective way, a sort of a satisfying way, so that's disappointing. I don't think the story is all that interesting or effective once it's discovered that, I don't know if I want to give this spoiler or not. Once it's discovered who's doing the killing, I'll just leave it at that. And we basically get a character that rides into town to give us a weak exposition dump to reveal the killer, and we never get a payoff with that. It's such a low budget movie that it can't even afford to show the damaged raft scenes where they're trying to leave, and then apparently their rafts have been damaged or slit, so they lost all the air, but they can't show that. They don't have the money, I guess. And then there's a lot of scenes where characters are just wandering off. We get the even for an early 80s slasher movie, I mean, the reasons that the characters, instead of just sticking together and not being killed, they decide, I have to go get a beer, or I have to go to check on this, or don't worry, I'll be back. And we all know, according to Randy from the good Scream movie 15 years later, that you won't be back. So yeah, that's it. That really annoyed me, where characters, for the sake of the movie, just decide to wander off for no reason. So yeah, that's my review for Scream. I really don't have that much to say about it. The movie falls apart in execution. I don't think, like I said, the idea... there was a good idea at some point before this movie was actually put to screen. But that idea just never got executed in any sort of effective way, from the acting to the characters to the writing to the gore, or any gore, to the kills, to anything having to do with an early 80s slasher movie, really. Little bit of atmosphere, some decent score music, and a really nice setting that all goes to waste, unfortunately. So I'm going to give Scream from 1981 a 4 out of 10. I think that's being more than fair, frankly. It's in my collection. I'll probably keep it for now and watch it in maybe 5 years again, just to see if anything changes. But yeah, 4 out of 10 for the original Scream from 1981. Go ahead and comment down below what you guys think of this Scream, not Wes Craven's Scream, but this Scream from 1981. If you've seen it, I wouldn't really recommend it unless you're a completionist that has to see all the 80s slasher movies or all the 1981 horror movies, as I'm doing here. I wouldn't just say, hey, if you want a great slasher, watch Scream from 1981. You'll not regret it. Now, most people will regret it. So anyway, with that being said, please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and subscribe to my channel, as I mentioned earlier, so you don't miss any of my upcoming reviews for this series or any of my other horror content after this series. So with that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying this overall 1980s horror series, 1981 specifically. And as always, stay scared. Bye.